Coming up next on CMM News is the study of modern China. But before that, we'll be right back after a quick word from our wonderful sponsor, China Travel Tours.
Have you ever thought of visiting China? Have you ever hoped to learn of its history? Well then, if you are, you're in luck! With China Travel Tours, you can explore the rich history, culture, and cuisine of China today. Visit ancient landmarks including the Great Wall of China, the Terracotta Warriors, or the Forbidden City. Register now at ChinaTravelTours.com or call 1-800-CTT-TOUR today. That's right, 1-800-CTT-TOUR today.
Prior to European influence in the Chinese territory, leaders of the Qing dynasty ruled with absolute power in China. Furthermore, by the late 18th century, the empire was prospering both economically and culturally. Believing they could function without foreign influence due to their various advancements and self-sufficient agriculture economy, the Qing dynasty resisted efforts of foreign
Welcome back, folks. I'm Curtis Yang, and today we'll be looking at the Opium War. Here's some context. The success of the Qing dynasty gained the attention of European countries, notably Britain. Hoping to secure another trading partner, the British sent an ambassador to the Emperor of China with gifts in order to create good relations with China. Believing they were self-sufficient, the Chinese refused all of their efforts. However, as Europeans continued to consume Chinese tea, porcelain, and silk, British silver was constantly flowing out of Britain. They sought a trade that would not only benefit the British, but also allow them to manipulate all trade in China. British merchants discovered the most effective method of achieving this goal was to smuggle opium, a highly addictive narcotic, into China. This trade raised numerous health issues for the Chinese, prompting the emperor to demand the abolishment of this trade. However, these demands went unanswered, and the Chinese dumped the opium into a harbor. Think Boston Tea Party. A war has broken out as a result. The war, known as the Opium War, is currently underway. My colleague Xiao Rui is present on the front lines with live footage of the war.
That's right, I'm here right now at the scene, and behind me you could clearly see China and Britain locked in an ongoing war. The Chinese have slowly but surely been retreating inward, as their warships seem to be no match for the superior technology of the English. If this trend continues and China surrenders, they will be forced to open their doors to the Europeans. In doing so, the Europeans, specifically the British, will have immense control over trade and political structure.
The Chinese were unable to fight against the weapons and warships of the British, and surrendered by signing the Treaty of Nanjing in 1842, triggering a period of European influence and a burst of nationalism within China. Additionally, they were forced to cede Hong Kong as well as the 5 major trading ports: Shanghai, Guangzhou, Ningbo, Fuzhou, and Amoy. At the same time, China's population was rapidly growing, and food production simply could not keep up. Thus, foreigners were the least of the Qing dynasty's concerns. Famine and the devastation of Chinese population left it in a weakened state, ripe for takeover. Although previous rebellions against the Qing dynasty, such as the Taiping and Boxer rebellions, had failed, soon Yat-sen and his massive following were able to turn China against the emperor and the centuries-old dynasty, allowing Yat-sen to become president of the Nationalist Party of China. Reforms were soon put in place, and China was back on its way to reclaiming its glory and reputation as a dominant power. World War I held much potential as a stepping stone towards Chinese hegemony. China aligned itself with the Allies to obtain recognition and reclaim certain areas, specifically the areas that Germany had occupied. Despite China's efforts to reclaim it, Japan was awarded those lands through the Treaty of Versailles. The shift in control was not well received by the Chinese, and their anger was thoroughly expressed in 1919. Students gathered in the Tiananmen Square on May 4th to protest the continuation of foreign control in China.
Hi, and welcome back to CMM News. My name is Meng Xu, and today we will be looking at European influence in China. Following China's crushing defeat to the English in both Opium Wars, unfair treaties were signed, giving foreigners extensive privileges and exemptions in trade. English success motivated other countries to follow, notably Russia, France, Austria-Hungary, among others. Even neutral nations like the United States established open-door policies with other nations to ensure that its trading rights and interests were protected in China. As a result, more and more Chinese have expressed their concern and disdain for their government. Many want change, and almost all of them want the end of European influence. Reporter Michael Joe is at the scene.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm standing outside the Tiananmen Square, where many college students are protesting foreign control. They all want for China to liberate itself from foreign control. Activists such as Mao Zedong have been giving motivational speeches, rallying the nation to support a revolution.
Screw the Treaty of Versailles! Screw the Treaty of Versailles!
Led by Professor at the time Mao Zedong, some of these students eventually formed the Communist Party of China. Allying with Lenin, this party was formed with the intention of establishing a socialist society. While they were originally peaceful with the communists, the nationalists eventually separated themselves with the communists, massacring the majority of the communist leaders and marking the start of the China Civil War. Although the communists seemed destined to fail, Mao Zedong kept the remainder spirits alive by motivating them as well as by gaining the support of the massively increasing Soviet Union. At one point, during World War II, the two mortal enemies became allies in an effort to drive the Japanese out of Chinese territory.
Hello there, and welcome back to CMM News. My name is Xiao Rei. The Chinese Civil War has been raging for years now, and we're starting to see signs of an end. The two sides, the Nationalist Party led by Jiang Jieshi and the Mao-led Communist Party, have brought the war to southern China. Once united under the goal of overthrowing the Qing dynasty, and once again during the Japanese invasion of China, these men are no strangers to each other, and hopefully soon we will witness a victor. Now over to Meng Shu, who has been documenting the Chinese Civil War for multiple years now.
Good evening, my name is Meng Shu, and behind me we can see the tactical warfare of both sides. Neither side is willing to surrender, yet neither has an underhand. The Nationalist Party clearly outnumbers the Communists 3-1, yet the Communists have employed guerrilla warfare. Bang! Bang!
Following this, the Civil War continued, and although nationalists outnumbered the communists 3-1, popular support shifted towards Mao's policy. With their newfound support, the communists were able to defeat the nationalists, forcing Jieshi to relocate to Taiwan. Mao Zedong and the Communist Party created the People's Republic of China. During the first few years as chairman, Mao implemented his own versions of law and policy, modeled after the Soviet Union and communist ideas illustrated by Karl Marx. One of the greater policies implemented was the Great Leap Forward, an attempt by Mao to make China an industrialized power. It shifted the population into communes, massive farms that housed up to 20,000 people and had an area of several hundred acres. Privately owned land was seized by the government and redistributed in the communes. The economy was transformed into the model communist economy, and though it seemed effective and fair, it quickly proved to be detrimental to the populace. As a result, Mao decided to solidify his control through instituting the Cultural Revolution, a socio-political movement to remake the traditions of China. Mao instituted the Red Guards, militia-like groups that valued the common worker over scholars and intellectuals. Over the next few years, the Red Guards killed thousands of teachers, students, government workers, and people of skilled occupations. Eventually, Mao was stopped by Zhou Enlai, who reversed many of Mao's policies and brought in more Western aspects of life into China. Mao died on September 9, 1976. Now, the Chinese are focused on establishing hegemony as the Europeans had done hundreds of years ago. The South China Sea is a most prevalent example of this. The Chinese have built artificial islands while encroaching on other islands other countries had previously claimed. The advantage of a superior military and the overall political influence have allowed China to continue with their plans without resistance from its neighbors, attracting the attention of the likes of the US. Ultimately, although imperialism on modern China quickly turned the people against the Qing dynasty, it brought forth a much-needed reform in Chinese government, as well as an economic restructure. While European influence on China may have brought forth numerous economical and safety complications, the long-term impacts proved beneficial for the Chinese, as it sparked reason to rebel against an outdated and absolute government, lacking regard for the overall well-being of the Chinese people.